not this again. Oh, come on. It was bound to happen soon.
Ellie, your mask!
Hello, welcome to my channel. I have beaten The Last of Us 2 twice. On both moderate, some weird sort of Survivor Plus difficulty, and I am currently halfway through my Survivor Plus difficulty. Now I thought I would talk about this game because this is quite a talker of a game, and I'll give you some pros, cons, and also huge spoiler warning for The Last of Us 2. So I thought I would talk about the pros of this game. Great acting, good story concept. I like the story concept. I don't know, some parts of it kind of ruined it for me. The brilliant AI, the AI is genius. It's a little scary how smart the AI is. Amazing graphics, spectacular gameplay. The level design's great except for one section, I would have to say, that kind of annoys me. Allies aren't completely useless, they actually help. I remember being on Grounded and Sam and Henry in the first game would just sit there. It really annoyed me. They didn't really have too much of that problem. Dina sometimes would do weird things, float around a little bit and just stand there. It's really weird. But I mean, it wasn't as annoying or useless as the last time. The music's amazing, the animations are great, the facial animations blow my mind at some points. I love that they didn't try to give fan service. I love that they didn't try to do the same story with Joel and Ellie going across the country. I do kind of wish it was a little more than just Seattle and Santa Barbara, but I meant that didn't really bug me too much. I love that they upgraded the swimming. The swimming was so annoying in the first game. They don't have Ellie plinked around, or old man Joel plinked around. I mean, Joel's kind of dead the whole game, so, you know. But I mean, I appreciate that we didn't get any of that again. I gotta point that out. I love the stealth mechanics have improved. I kind of wish they added a little more to that, but what they added was really fun. I enjoy the gameplay so much. It's really addicting. I wouldn't say addicting, but it's really good. That's what I'm trying to say, pretty much. And that's pretty much all the pros I could think of. There's a lot more. I love, for the most part, most of the writing, like dialogue feels pretty natural. There's some scenes with some exceptions where it feels a little weird, or they're just like characters set up in weird scenarios and stuff. But I mean, I'll talk about that soon with the cons list. With the story, I think it's pretty good for the most part. There's a lot of cutscenes that didn't need to be needed. There's a lot of cutscenes that were there. After seeing another review, I have to say I do appreciate the story they went for a little more. But I mean, overall, I thought the idea was really good. I like that they tried something new, and I love that they try to make you see a different perspective, and I really appreciate that. In terms of new characters, for the most part, I thought most of them were really good. I really love Dina, really love Lev and Yara. I wish Jesse was in the game more. I felt like they kind of just threw his character away. That's just my opinion. I think Isaac was the biggest waste of screen time. Oh my goodness. He was in the trailers, and then he's literally, all the scenes you see of him are in the trailers. Just felt like a huge waste of time. They overhyped him. Joel felt a little weird in this game, but I will talk about more of that in the cons. I'm just saying that most of the characters I ended up liking. Until you get to Abby's start part of the story, and that's where like the characters kind of get messy for me. But Ellie's part of the story, the characters are great. I love all of the characters in the acting is good in this game. I added this section in. All of the acting is good. Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Shannon Woodward, Stephen Chang, who's McCall? I totally forgot his name who plays Tommy. Jeffrey Pierce. All of them are good. I loved all of their performances. They were all very compelling characters. They all had their motives, and for the most part, most of them were shown. And I think one of the things is I think people have been hating on Laura Bailey a lot for this role. I thought she was amazing. She made this character a lot more tolerable than I think I would have if it was voiced by someone else. I'm starting to begrudgingly love this Abby, but without her, I don't think I would be able to. I honestly think I would despise her still. It took me like 2 playthroughs to finally love the character, but I mean, if it wasn't for Laura Bailey, I don't think this game would have worked as well, and obviously, if it wasn't for Ashley Johnson, this game wouldn't have worked as well. But I mean, they both did an amazing job. I think you'll see you won't see the audio, but this scene really sold me on the characters. The "You're my people," that was a really great scene. that I think should be talked about almost more. It reminded me a lot of the Joel and Ellie ranch scene. A little bit, but not too much, because Joel and Ellie will always be Joel and Ellie. No one could replace them, no matter what. But yeah, I thought the acting was great, obviously, and I am glad to say that I loved all the performances in this game. I do wish Nolan North was in this game. Man, I wish he was in this game. He's in almost every Naughty Dog game, and it was a little sad to not realize he's in this game. Anyways, next point. Now, in terms of cons, talk about the uneven storytelling. Storytelling feels really uneven, the pacing's bad. I watched someone else play some parts of the game, not all of it, and I could tell the pacing was a little bad, but playing it fully through, the pacing's awful. There'll be a day where you're Ellie, and you're in Seattle, and then a few minutes later you'll be in Jackson with Joel, and then you go back to Seattle, and then you go back to another place, I don't even remember, I think it's St. Mary's Hospital. And then you'll go back to Seattle, and then you switch characters, and then you're in the aquarium, and then you're also it's everywhere. It makes my brain break a little bit. In terms of pacing, storytelling's kind of uneven. I don't really complain. It didn't really bother me too much. You feel like a lot more development, a lot more time with Abby, even though you really aren't. It's just, you're just murdering people as Ellie. It doesn't bug me. I know it'll bug some people, but I didn't have a problem. Character inconsistency. I know everyone talks about Joel's death and they feel like Joel's out of character. There's only one thing I could say Joel's out of character for, and that's more of a continuity thing, I think. Joel walks into a room full of armed strangers with no guns, especially because he has guns, and he just puts them away. Doesn't even think about it. That doesn't really feel like something Joel would make. I do think he would help Abby. I just think that because he lives in Jackson. People recruit people there. It seems like a Jackson thing to do, but however, it just doesn't sound like something Joel would do. Joel would definitely die guns blazing. That's how Joel is in the first game. I think it was a little weird that he just walked into a room with no guns, while everyone else that wasn't Tommy had guns. I also think Tommy was a little dumb in that scene. When he saw the gun pointed at his brother, didn't really react until after his brother gets his kneecap blown off. That just felt weird. And then there's Ellie. Ellie kind of stands there. She totally could have shot Abby in the head. She had a good time frame. I don't think, especially after seeing the one scene where Ellie does the same thing. She shoots the dude in the head after Joel's about to die. I'm surprised she didn't just blow Abby's head off. She had the total opportunity. I don't know why it was done that way. I mean, I do think Joel kind of got the death he deserved. Not because I don't love Joel. I love Joel. He's one of my favorite video game characters, but he did sacrifice himself for Ellie because he was willing to go kill hundreds of people in order to save Ellie's life. Did Ellie want that? No. But I mean, it does feel like a Joel way to go out. In terms of character inconsistency or new characters, there are some characters that we spent way too much time with and kind of felt like a huge waste of time. Owen and Mel are the best example of this. Owen and Mel, their scenes with Abby felt like a weird soap opera. It just really bugged me. I don't know if anyone else felt like that. What else? Oh, Isaac. Wasted my time. That man wasted so many scenes for me. He was barely in he's only in 3 scenes. And it felt like they overhyped him and made it seem like he was going to be like this huge pivotal character, but he kind of isn't. He's just there. He doesn't really do anything. But I mean, in terms of that did annoy me. A lot of Abby's characters felt throwaway. I think it's because of the way they are incorporated in the game. See, because you happily kill most of them as Ellie, and then you get to know them. It just feels really weird. I hope I'm not the only person that feels that way. It just whoa. It just is like, what? Now I get to know you. The only character that I kind of felt bad for that died was the dog, Alice. Everyone else I was like, okay, I'm kind of happy you died. Good for you. Y'all, like, that was lovely. It was a weird feeling. I didn't really feel regret. I think they were trying to aim for regret, but I didn't feel any regret. I was just like, you were kind of annoying. You spat on Joel. Ooh, dang. Now, in terms of world inconsistency, one of the biggest things that bugged me was in the first game there was this huge idea that there was only really a 50% chance of a cure. If you find all the recorders, you'll find out that they actually tried to find a cure off of other patients, and none of them really worked. And that was a really cool feature that I feel like they really forgot about that. Considering that in this game it felt like Abby's dad was the only man who could find a cure. I don't think anyone else has critiqued that yet. Maybe people have, but it just felt a little cliche to me that Abby's dad was the only man who could find a cure. And Joel killed him. How dare he? Just didn't. What? Well, you think that, it just felt so cliche. It kind of made me cringe a little. That was, in terms of writing, that's what bugged me the most, especially after playing the first game recently. And then there's the weird Resident Evil boss fight. That was weird. It felt like Resident Evil. And I'm not a huge fan of the Resident Evil series. I'm not really into horror games. This is the only horror game I really play. But my friend, who's a huge Resident Evil fan, I sent her a picture of the Rat King, and she's like, "Is this Resident Evil? Did they just steal from Resident Evil?" I was like, I think they kind of did. I think they got permission, or someone said something about, they totally wanted to do that. Obviously, I've touched on too many flashbacks. It still annoyed me. In terms of things I would have done better, I'll tell you the things I would have done better. Things I would have done differently. Now let's talk about this. This is an interesting concept I thought I would add to my review. This should have been the third game. Take out all the cutscenes and flashbacks. Not all of them. Some of them actually worked for this game. I think one of the ones that worked was the last scene with Joel and Ellie in the end. That worked. That was fine. But the gameplay flashbacks towards the middle of the game, those could have been in the so-called second game. This could have been the third game. And then we could have got a whole DLC with Abby and get to know her before she kills Joel. And maybe we get a DLC with her and the Fireflies going across country together. And then the end scene of the first game would be the end of the DLC where you see Abby's father killed. And then Abby being sad. That would have been my ideal for a DLC for the so-called what I wish was the second game. And then you get more Joel and Ellie. Obviously, I said that before. Maybe you could do a weird story around them. Perhaps there's a war or something. And then this game would hit without the flashbacks. This would be the third game. It would make so much more sense. I would have cared for Abby and felt attached to Abby. And then I would have liked her friends more, like Owen and Mel and her dad. That could have been that would have made it so much better. This game would have been a lot more impactful to me, rather than getting to know Abby in the middle of the game really well, and then not knowing why she killed Joel. I felt a lot of anger and hate during my first playthrough of this. There's a reason why. There's a lot of confusion, anger, and hate, and some weird emotions I've never felt in my life through this first playthrough. Now, the second playthrough, I started to appreciate things more and see things a little more clearly, because I think killing Joel off kind of threw everyone off. Because we all knew I knew Joel was going to die because of the leaks. However, I didn't think he was going to die within the first 2 hours. I thought it was going to be more the middle of the game. And what's funny is seeing the leaks, I thought it was a whole different story. Those pictures of the WLF group from, I don't even know her name. Those pictures, I thought what happened was Jackson was attacked, and Ellie and Joel were trying to find these people. Because I didn't see all the leaks, mind you that. And then I don't know where Abby came in. I thought the Abby and Ellie boss fight was a huge joke. I thought it was a prank. I thought they were just playing around with some features. To know that was actually in the game, I was like, oh, great. I thought the whole cutscene with Dina and Ellie was deleted, so I didn't think it was in the game. So I legit thought that this was a revenge story about an attack on Jackson, where this traumatic event happens to Jackson where they steal or kidnapped all these people, this random group, the Seraphites, I'm assuming, I don't know. And then that was the revenge story. That's what I thought was the revenge story. Never did it cross my mind that Joel would die in the beginning of the game. And I never thought we'd play as Abby for 8 hours. So this, my weird theory that I got from the leaks was a lot. I'm kind of indecisive because my theory was way different than what was seen, and it was interesting they went that way. So yeah, see those pictures, you'll see that's what I actually thought those were people from Jackson that got lost or something or kidnapped, and I thought Joel would die in the middle of the game, which is it was kind of a cool theory I had. It made me super hyped, and I was thinking that Abby was like the leader of the groups that that attacked Jackson, and I thought she would be like a Firefly or something and she was the leader who attacked Jackson because they were mad of what Joel did, and then they would find Joel and kill him in the middle of the game. So my ideal theory for this was way different than what actually happened. So it just shows you how playing this game full out was much important than what the leaks told me. Well, the leaks really didn't tell me anything, to be honest. There's just a couple of cutscenes smacked together, and yeah, What's weird is all the leaks are in the game. So if you saw all the leaks, I saw most. All the leaks that I saw were 100% in the game. I think there was one. Apparently someone saw a leak where Abby got killed by Ellie in the end. I kinda glad Ellie didn't kill Abby. I like the ending. I think the ending's perfect for this game. The middle is where the game kind of fails itself. Act 1 and Act 1 and Act 3 were really good. Act 2 was really sloppy. I know that's just me, but I mean, I did actually really like this game, and I thought there was a lot of great things to love about this game. While there were some things that were iffy and questionable, I think there was a lot of good things about this game. So overall, I love this game. I am gladly replaying it because the gameplay is so smooth, and yeah, also don't mind me playing bad on this. Whenever I play on an easier difficulty, I tend to play really bad, whereas when I play on a hard difficulty, I am a lot better. I mean, I'm still bad at some things, but I mean, it's nothing near when I play on a hard difficulty. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this game. Good game, I think so. I will hopefully do more reviews. Whoa, I got close to the mic. I hopefully will do more reviews styled like this, where I list pros, cons, things I think should have been done better, or I would have done better. I don't think I'll do scores anymore. I only did score on that one video, and that's not really a full review. That was just me comparing things to another thing. So, there you go. These are my reviews. Good luck. Have fun in life. Goodbye.
Oh my gosh! I just got my face torn off.